is sponsored by Dave Stahl.
It's time to get educated on your Second Amendment rights. Welcome to 2 full hours of Gun Owners Radio. Your hosts, Dave Stahl, Joe Drammissi, and Michael Schwartz, will teach you about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your rights to keep and bear arms. Visit gunownersradio.com with questions to learn how to become a sponsor of Gun Owners Radio and get involved. Together, we will win. Now here's your hosts, Dave Stahl, Joe Drammissi, and Michael Schwartz on The Answer San Diego.
All right, folks, welcome to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Folks, if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you really need to call California's firearm lawyer, John Dillon, especially if you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant. Call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at dillonlawgp.com. Before you get started, KUSI wanted me to thank you for all of the, because we were talking about you and John Dillon, and Tommy was just basically saying, God, first he started talking about you. He says, he's such a great interview. I said, well, he does a lot of work.
Oh, that's nice. Tommy's a great guy.
Yeah, and then he turned around, he says, and then there's that John Dillon. He says, man,
well,
you talk about somebody that knows gun laws. He says.
He didn't have to go that far. Let's go back to the.
He was complimenting me.
Let's
did you really need to go that far, Dave?
John's the best. Tommy, if you're listening out there at KUSI, you guys are absolutely awesome. And John really is good. I'm glad he said that.
Well, I'm glad now that they found him. Mm-hmm. Because I introduced
him.
Yeah, because they weren't using him before. They weren't using. Well, they were using some people, but yeah. So and I just wanted to.
Yeah, John's the best. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to be on KUSI a week from today in the morning. We're going to talk about the roster.
Right, and I hooked you up with Jason Ostell.
Yeah,
I got you scheduled to do heavy. I know you'd rather have Ginger or somebody, but too bad. And he's now become
Jason and
a new
Paul,
gun owner.
Yeah, Jason's a new gun owner. He and I, oh man, it's hilarious when I sit there. All those anchors, and it's not just KUSI.
Right, it's anywhere you go.
All these anchors, you'd be shocked. All these anchors kind of off air go, and they start asking me about guns and CCWs and everything. You'd be shocked.
I just came up with one of my wonderful ideas.
What's that?
A gun social.
With reporters?
8, 10, 39, Fox, CW, and KUSI.
I think we should have a contest to see which station.
Get 2 per store. Set it up. Get 2 per station.
Artie Ojeda. Do you think Artie Ojeda can shoot a gun from NBC?
Oh yeah.
What would you call it though? I mean, it's got to be as cool as Guns N' Moses. What
well, it's got to be.
I don't know.
KUSI News Shootout.
Yeah, well, or just,
Okay, Guns N' Moses still is way on top.
But you can't use Guns N' Moses just for that.
No, I said as cool as.
There's
got to be a bar to reach for.
But I mean, seriously, wouldn't that be, I mean,
I think it's a good idea. Honestly, we've tried to do that with reporters in the past, and getting on a reporter's calendar with something that's not a news story is like,
but even
it's
if
really difficult.
Do it off hours.
Well, you got to be careful, too. The last time I saw a reporter do that, wasn't it a traumatic experience and PTSD and all that stuff from New York?
Well,
you'd be surprised, though. You'd truly be surprised. Think of everybody listening out there, think of the anchor you watch every night, whatever station, and I'll bet you they've pulled me aside and said, hey, man, and talked about guns.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because they're all curious about them.
Yeah.
And the ones that are asking the questions have never been around a gun.
Well, they're curious, and Joe and I have talked about this. It kind of cuts across. At the end of the day, if you put all the political rhetoric aside,
right,
when people want protection, they know, okay, I want to be able to defend myself. That equals firearm.
Do I want a baseball bat?
No, I don't want a baseball bat.
Do I want a knife? Ooh,
I don't want a frying pan.
No.
Well, and the other thing, too, with news folks, people in that industry, no matter what they say on air, they all know. They see the statistics. They see what's happening, like in San Diego with crime and stuff like that. So, I would think they're even more concerned probably than the average citizen would be, because they get to see that.
I agree.
Okay. But one of our great listeners, Guns and Newsies, NEWIES. for the TV shootout.
All right. Hey, so everybody, Bruin decision. The Supreme Court wasn't Bruin the bad guy? How come we're not calling it the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association decision?
Because it's easier to say Bruin than it is to say
Bruin.
NYSRPA.
Yeah, sounds like it sounds like the it was like UCLA. Aren't they the Bruins? Sounds like it was like a UCLA thing.
Yeah, right.
All right, so the Bruin decision, the Supreme Court decision that said no more good cause. And if you go on our social media, Orange County, Inland Empire, San Diego's social media, you will see me and our buddy Bill Deasy, the CCW instructor.
I saw that.
Did you see that? What'd you see?
I saw him having a little bit of trouble with his new flamethrower thrower there.
Oh, I see, but I didn't click on the video.
He won
it.
He won the flamethrower, and he and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it was he and I that sat down and put together the Good Cause worksheet years ago that's helped thousands of people get their CCW. And so we decided that the most appropriate thing to do today was to go to the Glock store parking lot and use the flamethrower on a Good Cause worksheet, because there is no more need for good cause. So there's no more need for a Good Cause worksheet.
Are you excited?
So we just
wanted
flamed.
But you had 13 fire extinguishers around it for some reason.
Well, for a lot of good reasons. It was kind of funny. It was seriously started out as like a, hey, what are you doing? The next thing I know, we're in a parking lot.
And then it was here, hold my beer. Hold my beer.
Hey, man, what's going on? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. Next thing I know, we're in a parking lot with a flamethrower.
Was it a great prize?
It was. But the prize really is the fact that as much as I really liked that Good Cause worksheet, and as proud as we are of all the work that we did, really want to get the message out there. There is no more need for good cause. There is no more need for good cause. Just put NA where it asks for good cause until they update the application.
Oh, put NA.
NA, not applicable. And I'll tell you, it's, I've talked to people. I was talking to a guy about a week ago and said, you don't have to, no more good cause statement, no more good cause worksheet. And he goes, oh, okay, great. That's wonderful. So I think I'll be able to get it. And he started describing his good cause. I'm like, no. What did I just say? So people are so used to the idea that they have to do this.
Well, and how do you know the person behind the counter is not going to just automatically say, where's your good cause letter?
The clerks, well, I know for a fact they had a big meeting, and I've talked to them, and that comes from the highest authority, and we've already had people go through and put NA. Just put NA, just put NA. They're very cooperative. They want to get you your CCW. Something like 700 or 800 applications just since the Supreme Court decision came out. That's huge. I mean, what do they approve, Joe? Like 200 a month on a good
month, yeah.
Well, and your next appointment is April 13th.
Yeah, you guys.
And that's Jason.
You're going to have to be really, really patient. They're working on it. What drives me nuts is you get folks that automatically fall back on like a conspiracy theory, like, oh, the sheriff doesn't want us to have a CCW, so they're pushing the blah, blah, blah. That's not what's going on. Everybody in the entire state was just told you can get a CCW. Just be patient. We're working. Everybody's working hard on it.
What do you think the bottleneck is? Because
I know what the bottleneck is.
Because you made an awesome statement last week.
Yeah.
When you said when you walk in and fill out for your background, they know instantly.
Right. Well, so the bottleneck is the California Department of Justice. Everything gets processed through them, and they need a department with like 30 people, and they have like 3. So it's just processing. It is, but it's that they're not putting the state, not the sheriffs, but the state. They are not putting this as a priority, whether or not they're doing it on purpose doesn't matter. What matters is that we have to get. They need funding. They need to hire people. They need to take this seriously.
And the chances of that are
we got to vote the right people in. We got to put pressure on the politicians, right. And then we got to take them back to court because now we have this great tool. The fight's not over. It just started, and we just got the best tool we could – an amazing tool for the toolbox, which is the Bruin decision.
You just can't use it yet.
Well,
because there's a bottleneck.
Yeah, well, we're getting there.
We're getting there. It's a hammer.
We're excited to announce our new partnership with the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. Beth Alcazar is next to talk about it.
But first, do you feel safe? Are you protected? Well, it's time to take ownership of your self-defense journey. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association believes the key ingredient is being a responsible firearms owner. a proper training, and education. The USCCA offers comprehensive training that helps you avoid danger while keeping you and your loved ones safe. More than 650,000 responsibly armed Americans like you have made the responsible decision to take control of protecting themselves and their families. Get hands-on training from certified instructors. Learn how to avoid danger, defend yourself, and protect your loved ones. Take responsibility for your own safety and visit uscca.com or /GOR. All right.
So
Hey, say hi to Beth.
we're here. I'll say my hero, Beth Alcazar, is here, I think. Beth, are you there?
I am here. Yes, again, this is so exciting.
Oh, welcome back. Yes, imagine my excitement. I talked to you 2 weeks ago here. I left for a little hunting trip, come back, and you're here again. Who knew?
Wow. I mean,
We
yeah,
always bring
exactly.
the good back. We always bring the good back.
And
you know,
even better so with partnership, too. How serendipitous is that? I'm so
know.
excited.
Well, and right now, this is such an important time with the gun sales that are going on. Holy moly. I know, and everybody thinks it's just California, but it's across the United States. So this is very opportune that you'd come on and chat with us.
Well, and I'm excited to be here. I don't know if I drew the long straw, the short straw, or any straw at all, but I heard about the opportunity to jump back on with you guys. I said, oh, yes, me. I raised my hand. So.
All right. So for folks that don't know who you are, here's a perfect opportunity.
Sure. Yeah. My official title, I guess, with USCCA is that I'm editor at large with Concealed Carry magazine, the award-winning, might I add, the award-winning Concealed Carry magazine. But I'm just one of the lucky few that get to spend a lot of time with not just the content side that produces the magazine, but also the training side. So I get to do a lot with the curriculum and, videos and blogs and just all across the board. I get to be part of some of the really awesome stuff that we're producing to help folks all across the nation learn more about responsible gun ownership.
Wow.
So, Beth, just for the one or two listeners that may not know what USCCA is, can you give us just a kind of brief description, what you guys are, what you do, and everything for us?
Yeah, I mean, the high-level overview, we're a membership organization that is 650,000 strong, responsible armed Americans all over the U.S., and I believe that's including over 60,000 just in California. And obviously our mission is training and education, and of course, that's where our emphasis is. We're industry, and we also believe the right of all Americans to embrace the responsibility for safe protection of their families. So we believe that everyone has that right. We support it, and we hopefully offer some resources for folks who are just looking to dig a little deeper and know a little bit more and just understand what their rights and responsibilities are.
Yeah, and that's such an important thing, too, because, I always talk about USCCA. I do a couple of concealed carry seminars each month, just explaining to folks, okay, what's the process? If you want to get your concealed carry, what do you have to go through? And I always touch on your organization and the importance of that, too, because I think it's important not only for concealed carriers, but for gun owners in general, is, to have the education, the training, the access to it, because that's what drew me to USCCA. I've been a member for, I think, 4 or 5 years, something like that. But it's just the training and the education part of it, the access to national type instructors and really high quality video and training material is really great to keep people, out of trouble, so that what you can do, what you can't do, what you should do to stay out of ever getting in a position where you have to use a firearm.
It's so true. And, it helps us all understand just so much more thoroughly that, kind of when a lot of us start out in the gun ownership category, we don't necessarily know all the details. We're very focused on the physical training. And then we start to learn more about how there's such a mental side to this and a mindset. But, beyond that, too, there's financial, there's legal, there's so many ways that we need to be prepared to keep ourselves and our families safe. And that's honestly the reason I really pursued the USCCA for a job, relentlessly went after them for years and worked side by side with them for many of those years, and finally kind of landed myself on the payroll officially about 6 years ago. And I love this opportunity to be able to use my background in education and say, hey, we're using those same methodologies for training and helping people and hopefully making a real difference.
So that's a perfect segue, Beth. I like the way you did that. So I'm brand new. I'm listening to Gun Owners Radio, and I hear about this. Tell me, as a listener that hasn't got a clue, what's the process? What do I need to do to get to the other end of the road, totally trained and educated?
Oh, I wish there were like an end of that journey for sure. I think there's constantly the idea in our head, the question, what's next? And that's my mission really, is to maybe get others to come away from every class or every experience with training with that question. Where do I go next? What other training do I seek out?
So where are your classes? I mean, if I'm in San Diego, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Do I have to sign up? And do I have to have my own gun? Do I have to have my own what are the kind of some of the list of things that the consumer is going to need to do when they come to you?
Well, with USCCA, what's awesome is you can go onto the website and look for not just training opportunities that we have online. Mm-hmm. You can also look specifically in your area. So you could put in your zip code, your address, or anything.
So you're nationwide. Nationwide.
Absolutely nationwide. And we have, 10,000, I think, certified instructors all over the country right now. And I believe roughly 300 or so are right there in California. So
one of them's Joe, right, Joe?
Well, it's funny. They're both rolling their eyes as if I didn't do my homework. So I guess we have facilities and people here in San Diego that can fulfill the need.
Well, what's nice, if you're a USCCA certified instructor, like some of us are, we could post our classes up on our website.
He was so snooty about it. He was such a snooty comment. He was like just looking down his nose at both of us, Dave. Throwing the gauntlet.
Or else I'll never get a word in here. I have to say something.
Oh, but be abusive.
But it's nice because, like Beth was saying, if you're looking for training, you go to the USCCA site. You can type in your zip code,
and they just give you a list of trainers.
If you're looking for in-person training, yes, it'll list everything in the area all the way up from here. I think I saw things all the way up through Orange County.
Okay, Mr. Instructor, being
go ahead.
Prejudiced, group or individual? Which would the consumer get the best benefit from?
What I saw on there were mostly group trainings, but there's no reason if I wanted to offer individual trainings, I bet I could figure out a way to put it on there because the dashboard is really nice. It's really easy to work with, and the USCCA people are great because I'm not a computer guy, so it's like I relearn it every time I do it.
Well, and I don't take a cruise, so I'm not into crowds. So if I could get an individual one-on-one.
You could if they're offering, it depends on what instructors are offering what. But the other thing, too, is if you're not into the class thing, there's a ton of really good online video training that they have there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I just did some of Beth's, actually. Beth, didn't you just do one with a concealed carry lifestyle, Beth?
We did, yeah. Steve Fisher and Justin Peters and I did kind of, some of it was a little tongue-in-cheek, but it was for all those new folks that we're welcoming into the 2A community to kind of get their feet wet, get them started.
Yeah, you can't be too stiff, otherwise you'll lose everyone.
No, exactly. So we had some fun with that whole. I think they broke it up into two different sections, but we had a great time with that concealed carry lifestyle section of Protector Academy and all the other great online resources that USCCA has. It was always fun to be invited to do those things and hope I'll be invited back.
Well, and that is a big deal because what we do out here is, the state mandates an 8-hour class, and you go through the class, and these people have their CCW, and then it's like, okay, now what? They have the CCW, they may be new to guns, they're certainly new to concealed carry, and it's like, well, what do I do now? Because, there's a million things that you need to learn aside from the gun. And that's why I thought your classes, your little video things were a good start there that you guys had.
How long are they?
Yeah.
How long would you say they are?
Well, there's different segments to the way that they split it up, and I think each one of them could end up being anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes. So little chunks of information
that's
you can
perfect.
sit down and watch.
That's perfect. When's the last time you sat and watched a 2-hour video on anything?
No.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
So you guys have thought this out, basically, and I guess that's the reason I'm saying it. So if somebody's listening, or maybe you're not brand new to gun ownership. Maybe you've had a gun your whole life, go take a look at these videos. It's kind of like taking the driver's test again.
Yeah. And I mean, if there's something specific you're looking for, you can pretty much find it through USCCA right now. I mean, we've got some really great skill builders. We've got things about red dots. Of course, that's the new big thing pretty much for everybody now. They've got pistol mounted optics. That is just the way to go. And, we've got also just some, everyday folk kind of stuff. I'm new, or I don't know where to start, or I don't know where to go next, or maybe it's safe storage and staging opportunities, or maybe you are digging a little bit deeper. And luckily there are many skill levels and opportunities that are represented through the USCCA, and the way that they've built the classes too, you can kind of start out at a level and pass that level, and then all these other things open up to you. And, that's exciting and fun as people are almost gamifying it too sometimes, where you can earn their little badges and all this stuff and, see what you've accomplished. And some people really love to be able to kind of go back and, see a visual representation of things that you've done and learned.
Mike still has his first target.
See?
I've seen that hanging on your wall.
I kind of wish I did. That would be so cool.
It would have been a BB gun, but it still would have been your first target. Hey, can you hang with us
yes.
for another segment?
Yes, you can.
Sure thing.
So do you have trouble fitting workouts into your busy schedule? Well, hey, you've got to try Leo Fit. Leo Fit is a super high-tech gym that delivers the benefits of 3 to 6 hours of traditional strength training in just two 20-minute sessions a week. Yes, that sounds hard to believe, but because the machines are computer controlled, they deliver the maximum weight you can safely handle by the second. That's how you get the highest possible return on your fitness investment and time. Founded by Leo Hamill at the jewelry store, famed Leo Fit guarantees increased metabolical strength and fitness in every session. You will not understand how effective it is until you try it. 20 minutes twice a week will replace hours of lifting weights and aerobics. Sign up on the website at leofitlabs.com or type Leo Fit in your browser for more information and sign up for a free session. All right,
we're talking to Beth Alcazar you're here representing USCCA, right?
That's correct.
Excellent. USCCA. I got to tell you, I tell people, we do these CCW seminars where we teach people how to get their CCW. You can start to get your CCW a few years ago now, but of course the Supreme Court case made it easier. So we were teaching people how to get their CCW and what to write and all that other good stuff. And I would tell people that, look, if you're getting your CCW, you have admitted to yourself that at some point it's a realistic possibility that you might have to defend yourself with a firearm. And if you've admitted that, there is an equal chance that you're going to need an attorney. Because if you do that, if you defend yourself with lethal force using a firearm, you're definitely going to need an attorney here in California. And if you've resigned to that fact, you've got to get some kind of service like USCCA. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. I think too many people think, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy a gun for defense, but I'm not going to get the coverage. Well, there's an equal chance of you needing an attorney as there is you using a firearm for self-defense.
Is that buying a car and not buying the insurance? Really, when you stop and think
it's a lot like that, yeah.
Yeah, the other one hurts more. But, I mean, pocketbook-wise, because if you get caught or anything happens and you don't have this kind of protection.
I think it's even more important, though, with a firearm, because when you buy a car, you don't buy a car thinking, I better buy a car because I'm going to need to get into an accident soon.
I've seen you drive.
You know what I mean?
I've seen you drive.
Yeah. But when you buy a firearm for self-defense, you're saying, hey, I'm probably going to have to use this at some point.
Brings up a great question.
So it's even more important.
How much is it?
That's for Beth.
Is that above your pay grade?
And that's not a question I get to answer. They can find out the different levels and the different opportunities that, hopefully will meet everybody's needs on the USCCA website.
Okay.
And that way I don't have to sound like some salesperson or anything. Well, they can dig into those details and find out all the value adds and all the awesome stuff that speaks to them individually.
And that's even better than saying it's $5, $10, or $20, because now you got them going to the website. And if they're anything like me, they're going to forget the question, enjoy the website, and wait for you to come back on the air so I can ask a question again. No, I'm kidding.
So Beth, what do you think about the Bruin decision?
Oh my gosh. Well, I had opportunities to speak to that just the other day, and I haven't read all 135 pages just yet. I'll admit that. But I was very intrigued by Justice Alito's quotes. I actually pulled some out and kind of chewed on them. I was just amazed. I feel like this is so long overdue. I feel like this is not just important to gun owners. I think it's important for law-abiding citizens that, we have been heard, and that I think before this came through, the fact that we needed a prerequisite, or not we personally, but New Yorkers or those in other states that were similar, California, that somehow you needed to produce a reason or proof to have your Second Amendment right be employed or protected. That to me is just heart-wrenching, because that really says that the government doesn't trust or support law-abiding citizens at all. And we kind of know that, but I think that this being on the books so long was proof of that. So we've been heard. Law-abiding citizens, we have been heard.
And you said Justice Alito's quotes. What did you like in particular? Do you remember?
There's a couple things that really stood out to me. For one thing, he was actually quoting some of the information that a lot of us in the gun community and the Second Amendment community use when we're talking about the flip side to statistics. And what I mean by that is, what about the upwards of 2.5 million defensive gun uses that are recorded annually in the U.S. alone? A lot of people don't want to touch those. They don't want to talk about those. They want to talk about murder, or they want to talk about people using firearms in dangerous or evil ways. But even Justice Alito brought this up, and I was so excited, like, wow, if someone from the Supreme Court is using this makes me feel even better when I'm quoting from the same thing. I also loved one other thing that stood out for me. He was also replying to the dissent. And this was amazing to me. He says, and this is direct quote, "While the dissent seemingly thinks that the ubiquity of guns and our country's high level of gun violence provide reasons for sustaining the New York law, the dissent appears not to understand that it is these very facts that cause law-abiding citizens to feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense."
Bam. I think, by the way, that was Justice Thomas, though, not Alito.
I thought it was Alito.
Was it Alito? I thought it was Clarence Thomas.
He didn't hold the court opinion. He was basically replying to the dissent.
They're just picking on Thomas.
Well, they really are. But I thought it was great. I mean, they really, I haven't gotten through the dissent yet. I really want to read the dissent, but I was really impressed with.
They did their job.
They went hard in the paint, man.
But they did their job.
Yeah.
Their job description is exactly what they did. And I think people need to understand that. You can't change what it's supposed to be.
I agree. What state are you in, Beth?
I'm in Alabama.
You're okay. So
come on out to California. I'll buy you lunch.
Right?
You guys.
We're one of the 25 constitutional carry now, so that was a recent decision not long ago for us, and a big win after 10 years of fighting for it.
Oh, we'll never get you out of there then, because you could not even think about that out here.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it's changed since you guys went constitutional carry, but at one point Alabama had the highest percentage of CCWs issued to adults.
Yes,
it was something like 20%.
We do. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes, we were the highest for. I think we were like the second highest for a while. Then we were in first place. And I think, honestly, even though we're constitutional carry recognized starting in January, I believe you'll still see high numbers of the concealed carry permit, because we have believers in the Second Amendment that want to travel and want reciprocity. And, we're not going to just give up on that. We want to make sure that, there's not some weird cross the border and all of a sudden you are wanted by the police officers right next to you.
Right.
So I don't remember if we talked to you about this last time. So if we did, I apologize. But one thing that we've talked about with others, and Joe has discussed, is we're all responsible gun owners. So we're big fans of, hey, get the training that you need to get in order to be, safe and do everything right, when it comes to gun ownership. But then, when you talk about mandated training, so what are your thoughts on government mandated training? Because that's kind of I think it's a discussion worth having in the gun community. When states do go constitutional carry, we're very, very happy about the fact that it's freedom, and it's the spirit of the Second Amendment, I believe. But it kind of conflicts with how how dedicated we are to training. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally understand, and I think there sometimes does feel like there's this disconnect. I mean, I've been part of the world of academia as an educator for more than 20 years now. I'm, finishing up my doctorate degree in education. This is something very, very serious to me, and I am a big believer in getting as many people educated and trained as we absolutely possibly can. The problem comes with who's in charge of that, who makes those decisions, and that's what we've seen time and time again, that you put somebody or get somebody in a decision-making role when it comes to what is the mandated training or what are these hoops that people have to jump through to be able to have a permit or a firearm or a certain amount of rounds. And then you have what happened in New York, California, all over again. You have people deciding that, you know what, these people need proof to have a gun in the first place. And you have people saying, hey, 8 hours of training isn't enough. It needs to be 800. Or maybe one day they're going to just decide, oh, wow, average citizens definitely shouldn't have guns. I'm glad I'm in a position mandating training, because now if they don't have the same amount that law enforcement gets, we're just not going to allow it at all. So I feel, as much as I support education across the board, what we can never really agree with or support or get on board with is the fact that some people believe that they have the control of that and that they can force that or mandate it, especially when it's a constitutionally supported natural right of the people. So that's where you have to draw a line.
What do you think is the most important thing? I've kind of, we've retooled the presentation that we give on how to get your CCW, and I've broken down training into like 4 different groups, because when you tell people, hey, you really need to get training, well, that I think most people think that we're talking about, in essence, marksmanship. But
Sure.
really, there's the legalities, there are the basic, functions of a firearm, there's marksmanship, and then there's how to move, what to do and how to move in a firefight, for lack of a better term. What do you think if there's going to be a lot of people in California that are getting their CCW for the first time, they've never carried? What would you tell them about, what should they concentrate on?
Well, there's a lot of layers and moving parts to that, really. And I think what people need to do is kind of decide, maybe almost think about being in college, or think about those years where you're kind of declaring a major and you're trying to pick and choose the coursework that is going to most support whatever that major might be. So let's say, for instance, someone really wants firearms as a sport, something that they can work on with their family and improve on their skills and maybe get involved with competition. That might be one completely different pathway where they are focused on those marksmanship courses. And then maybe they're taking some of those shooting and movement courses that just, layers onto those fundamentals, but in an order that makes sense and is not some kind of cognitive overload. But then on the other hand, if you have someone that's just sincerely 100%, this is self-protection, this is for me, my family, my loved ones, then sure, marksmanship is a great starting point in learning basics and fundamentals. But then you've got to look at the defensive side of things. Defensive shooting and the mindset for that, completely different. We're talking about the difference of, maybe not having any fundamentals in place. It's literally aim gun, press trigger, under the context of the dynamic critical incident, which is super hard to do. And then, of course, along with that, like you mentioned, you've got to be able to understand when is your right to legally protect your life with a firearm. When is that allowed? When is that protected? What kinds of things need to be in place for you to go to that last resort? So definitely those mindset classes, those classes that include legal aspects that really hit home and sometimes frighten us, and sometimes make us second guess, should I even have this gun? Those are the kinds of things we need.
Okay. Man, it's always great having you on the air. Give the website out one more time.
They need to go to usconcealedcarry.com. And now, because we're partners with you, I believe it's /GOR.
Yep, that's right.
Absolutely correct. Hey, you have an absolutely fabulous 4th of July, and I hope you enjoy cleaning your guns.
Absolutely. Happy Independence Day, everyone.
You've probably heard about the database leak by the state of California. The name, address, and age of everyone who has a California CCW was posted to a California DOJ website for the entire world to see. Doxing gun owners is completely and totally unacceptable. Incompetence or malfeasance, either way, it's a horrible offense.
But do you wish cleaning your gun was easier? Well, you can clean it with lube and protect it with Seal 1. Seal 1 CLP Plus is natural, non-toxic, and environmentally friendly. Clean your gun easier, faster, and you'll even smell better too. One and done with Seal 1. Ask for it by name at your local gun shop, or you can get it online at seal1.com. That's seal1.com. Okay, so all the guns you have, I heard it's close to a gun store, but I've not seen them. Say what? Oh, there you are. A small
Am
gun.
I back?
A
small gun store.
And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but have you ever tried Seal 1 on your guns?
Yeah, actually, there's certain ones I use it on. I use it on my 1911, and I actually use it on the bolt of my rifle because it works well. It's just easy to put on there, and it leaves a nice kind of coating on there once you wipe it off.
So couldn't you use it on all your guns, though?
I could, yeah. I haven't figured out because I have the paste version of it, and it's a little weird to do the barrels like that. I don't know, Mike. Did you use it? Well, you heat yours
he puts
up
his in
and
the
roast
refill.
it.
He puts his under the sink.
I do weird stuff.
Yeah, I don't do that with mine.
You know what? I'll bet you $100 if you go to seal1.com, there's a place you could ask that question.
They may actually have. I haven't looked because I have the paste version, but I think they have a liquid. Do they not have a liquid?
Yeah,
or
they have a
spray
liquid
version of that. That's what I thought. Yeah, I just don't have that.
But so there's homework for you. So next week you call these guys up and find out, can you use it on every gun in your gun?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I
You
can. Yeah, I mean,
can.
I just don't on every
On
gun.
the inside of your barrel, do you use a snake or a rod, or what do you use?
I
brush.
do, and I'll typically spray oil down in there.
A
and
snake?
Then, well, you have to with the snake. I found out, or the snake binds up in there.
Yeah, so the just
You mean
put
a real
that
snake?
Found that out early on.
put that gel all over the snake. That's all you do. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I've done that. You just take the gel and just slime it up, and then stick it down there.
Okay, maybe I'll try that because I'd like to actually do that again on the rifle because I'd like to be all consistent with it.
Right.
I don't really want to have two different kinds of stuff in there if I can avoid
You
that.
can't. I got to tell you that I've made that mistake. Once you pick a cleaner and a solvent, stick with it for the rest of your life. Don't switch in and out. It'll get all goopy.
The chemical reactions.
The chemicals react to each other, and especially if you have one that's organic and one that's not, or one that's oil based.
One that's not.
Oh my God!
So let me ask you even a more important
gooey.
question. Do you have to buy a gun cleaning kit for each different weapon you own?
Well, you have to buy whatever you use. You have to buy the thing that
The kit that goes with it.
Not the kit that goes with it. You have-
Different calibers.
Yeah, the caliber. It has to be caliber specific. So 90% of that kit goes to every gun, but then the 10% is caliber specific. So, so like if you're putting a snake down your bore,
That comes in the kit?
it's got to be the right caliber. If you're putting a patch
so if you got
down
a
your bore,
22
Yeah.
or a 9mm,
Right.
needless to say, the 9mm is not going to work on the 22.
right? Yeah, 12 gauge shotgun snakes not going down a
Gotcha.
22 barrel.
And can you buy a universal kit? Or
Yeah.
that was my point.
Yeah.
Like if I have that 22, then I have a kit to clean a 22.
If you get a cleaner, a solvent, some patches, and something for
Some
your
rods.
for your bore,
You're done.
You're done.
What do you put on the wood? Linseed oil?
Pledge.
Yeah, they
You know, you're the third guy that told me pledge. Okay, I think we drifted a little bit off topic because you were real serious there.
was.
And then we went cleaning.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
I got a few minutes left here. Are you talking about this? Oh, you got cool.
You got one.
10 minutes.
So, this week's article, how low will they go in reaction to the Supreme Court decision? So you can find this on the getagrip.substack.com. You can find it on our web page, sdcgo.org, go under news and then blog. So you'll see it on there too. So what I wanted to write about was, how is California and some of the more oppressive states likely to react to the Supreme Court thing? And actually, California got off to a good start. Where, they issued, Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, actually issued instructions, the next day to all the issuing agencies to no longer ask for, good cause statements on the concealed carry applications, which I thought, okay, that's good. That's a good sign.
Because he jumped on it.
Yeah, well,
He didn't lag it out 3
it's-
weeks.
Well, it's nice because, I would expect them to fight and claw and resist and not pay attention to
That's
it.
right.
as
Yeah,
much
that
as
was kind of
possible.
my point, too.
I did hear from John Petrolino today, who said in New Jersey they seem to be going along with it so far. They're not resisting like I guess Massachusetts is resisting and California is. But he said New Jersey so far seems to be just, okay, well, we're going to go with it. So we'll see. He's out to sea now, but he said hello, by the way. So, but
The Penn Patriot.
the Penn Patriot,
Correct.
the Italian, that's the guy. So anyway, I thought, okay, California's getting off to a good start. That's good. They instructed all the issuing agencies to no longer ask for good cause. And then, a day later, a day or two later, they inadvertently release all of the gun owner information. And again, what I'm writing about, okay, this is my opinion. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I find it really difficult to believe that was inadvertent. It was a mistake. I think it was intentional.
Isn't it easier to say you're sorry?
Except they're not sorry.
But they basically said, "Oh, this was."
He's not sorry. He's angry. I heard he's mad. He's going to get to the bottom of it. That's what I heard. Bonta said.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get to the bottom any more than they're going to get to the bottom of who released the Supreme Court draft a couple of weeks ago.
Do you notice how they forgot about that?
Yeah, that's gone now.
What do you think?
But no, with this one, what I think this was, this was in my words, this was a shot across the bow. Mm. This was a warning shot to gun owners, to potential gun owners, to people considering concealed carry, that, hey, you know what? You guys don't really have these rights. This is what we can do. We're in charge, and this is what we can do to you. And I think that's what that was. I don't know if anything will come. Michael, did you get to see that thing when it was posted up there? Because I know when I found that, by the time I found out about it, it was down already. It was gone.
I didn't actually see it, but there's actually a journalist up. There was a local paper up north in California, and they posted a story about it, and their graphic was a screenshot. So like 15 or 20 of the names. There was this story about how horrible.
Screenshot of it,
and then a screenshot of all the information. People, just ridiculous. I didn't actually see it, but my understanding is your name, your address, your gender,
probably Social Security,
your date of birth. I don't remember social, but like really bad information, really horrible information.
So is this not going to take the new gun owners that are coming in? Isn't that going to keep them away from getting the CCW?
Well, I think that's the intent. It's meant to intimidate.
Yeah, but
people,
then how are you going to catch? I mean, then how is the government going to catch all these people if they're not registering their guns?
Well, they'd rather have you not own a gun. Next best choice, I guess, is to register the gun.
Right.
But that's what I mean. I think it was just an intentional thing, and we'll see.
Terrible how distrusting we are of our government.
Well, and it's not. I mean, I try.
Well, that's why.
Well, if you look at what they do. I mean, that's, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you try not to be like that. But I mean, if it's based on behavior, look at the state of New York, right? If you want to see an extreme case, right? Who is that? The governor there, Holcomb or whatever her name is.
Holcomb.
They just passed legislation, so they knew it was coming. I think they were ready for it because they had it on there. She signed it the other day. So I think she signed it Friday.
Right.
But they've essentially banned. They've restricted places where you can carry a gun with a concealed carry permit, but they've restricted almost everywhere. I mean, it's like Times Square, it's sidewalks, it's schools, it's
subways,
public transportation.
So, and this is kind of what this decision is not the absolute solution. It's a tool for the toolbox because they're just going to have to go back. So, Joe, I don't think it's not going to banning carry in a non-sensitive area like a park or something. That's not going to stand.
Well, see, and they get to define sensitive area, and that's what Petrolino said to me this morning. He said that'll get stayed on Monday morning as soon as the courts open.
Right. Tuesday morning.
But you know what? I think one of the better things, or one of the more powerful things about this ruling. I mean, it was a great ruling, but the idea that they have to treat these things now as a constitutional issue. So rather than the difference, I guess, between intermediate scrutiny and strict scrutiny. Whereas in the past, they've been states like California have been arguing, in support of these gun control laws, and they've been using the what do they call it, the balancing type approach to it, where they balance the public safety or their perception of public safety with my right as as an American, as a citizen. And they should no longer be able to do that, if I understood this ruling correctly. I think that's what Justice Thomas said. And it's not a second-class right anymore. It's an actual right. It's like, it's like all the other rights. So they won't be able to use that balancing thing. So the state's going to have to come up with, much more solid evidence that, to support their case. So like what John was saying, if, that'll get challenged in court on Monday, the New York thing. And, I think the state's not going to be able to support that, and it'll go away eventually. But, we have to go through this thing. So like you're saying, Michael, this is the start. This is not the end.
This is the beginning of all our efforts, not the end. People think, hey, we got this great Supreme Court thing. No,
the road just began.
Yeah, we found this. What they did is we're still in the fight, but they just untied our hands.
Right.
So now we actually have some solid foundation.
Now they're going to get punched.
Yeah, so you got to get involved, everybody.
Well, in California, too, who's the anti-gun assembly? I mean, the one that always jumps on this
Petrolino.
Which I saw his proposed bill.
Isn't that the same name of the guy on the boat?
No, that's John. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you guys
Portantino.
That's right.
Not John Petrolino.
Sorry, John.
See, John? Dude, I'm covered for
the
you,
Italian,
man.
the Gabagool Patriot.
I don't want him after me, man. The Patriot. Always better off air.
Hey, Joe, I heard you cut your wild pig hunting trip short. What happened?
I just got bored.
Goodness, so that I have to get paid to do this.
That's funny.
You get it to do it.
Yeah,
Dave.
I think I got it. All right. Well, you know what? A lot of
Play on
companies are so frustrated with their websites, just like that last joke. It looks old. It's out of date. It's not getting any customers to listen. But you know what? Sage Tree can fix it. Since 2005, Sage Tree has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. Stop being frustrated by your website and get one of those that you will be proud of. Contact Sage Tree today. Go to their website or even make a phone call. Get started easy at 866-728-9100, 866-728-9100, or you can just go to their website today, and they will fix you up. All right, what did we check? Did you have to really cancel your pig hunt?
No, I had a great hunting trip.
It was awesome. I'm really jealous. I've never hunted in my life, Joe. So
Never?
no. So
You sit in a tree?
No trees.
You chased them?
Yeah.
See, that's what I was told. I was going to go with somebody with a bow and arrow, and I was supposed to chase the pig under the tree.
Well, I think it depends.
Well, actually, no, the pig was going to chase me under the tree.
As long as the pig gets under the tree.
How many did you get?
I got the one that I wanted.
So when are we having barbecue?
So as soon as it gets here.
Well, tell the story. I want to hear the story.
The butcher.
You're not hungry?
What?
You're not hungry?
I am, but
Let's kill a few more minutes, and then I'll get into the story.
No, seriously. Well, kind of start at the beginning to the end, because I don't think there's many millions of people that have ever boar hunted. Was this a guided tour?
Yeah, take a breath for a minute. I'll jump into it here.
Go for it.
This is something I've been wanting to do for years. And a friend of mine invited me to go on a trip. This was his third year going up there. And we went
up where?
We went about, I think it's 5 or 6 hours north of here, just past Paso Robles.
Still in California.
Yeah, near King City is where it was out of. And the guide service we went with is Ness and Schmidt, who I may have them call in here in a couple of weeks, just talk about it. But it worked out really well. So we drove up there, and it was interesting because the friend of mine that invited me is a retired L.A. County sheriff. And we picked up two of his buddies on the way up who are also retired sheriffs. And then there were 4 other guys up there, 2 of which, one was a retired sheriff, the other one was a working sheriff. So it was like cop stories all weekend.
Jeez.
But we get up there, and, we're staying in a house, which was part of the deal. And the guides come and pick us up at 4:15 on Saturday morning. So we follow them about 15 miles out to this area where we're going to hunt. And this guide service has access to 5 or 6 big ranches. I think where we were at, they said it was like 56,000 acres. So they're big. It looks like cattle ranches, and they grow, where we were, they grow barley to feed the cattle. So that's what the pigs are after. And it's a beautiful area. It's just big rolling hills with oak trees and stuff. It's really nice up there. So we get up there, and they've got, there's 8 of us. They got 3 ATVs. So there's a guide in each ATV. So my friend and I get in the one ATV, and the other guy's getting the other ones, and we split up. So we we go out to this. We're sitting in this valley at the end of this long valley, and it's still dark. It's probably, let's see, we start at 4:15. It's probably 5:15, something like that. So the sun's not up yet. It's just starting to get light. And the guide looks at me. I'm sitting in the front seat, so he says, "Okay, keep your eye out down at the other end of the valley. If these pigs come over, they'll come over that hill and come down that game trail." So I said, "Okay." So we're sitting there, and mind you, I'm not a hunter, or I am now, I guess, but I'm not really a hunter. So okay, it's my first time out there. I got my rifle that I've been practicing with, and so we're sitting there about 10, 15 minutes, and the guide says, "All right, there's one," and we look, way down the other end, a couple hundred yards down, we see this pig coming over the hill, running down the hill. So he floors this ATV. So we're flying down there now toward this pig, and we're bouncing all around, trying to hang on to the rifle. I'm hanging on to the ATV. And he said, "Okay, when we get up there, we stop, jump out and shoot him." I said, "Okay, cool."
Fish in a barrel.
So we get up there, and he comes screeching to a halt. The pig is, by this time, has come down one hill, went across the flat, and is running up the other side.
Coming right towards you.
No, running across the front of us.
Oh, I got you. Oh, side to side.
So I jump out. I swing the rifle up. The pig appears in my scope. I fire the first shot, and I hit him, but I hit him back a little bit and a little bit low, more in the belly area. And the guide's yelling, "Okay, shoot again, shoot again, shoot again." So I chamber another round. I shot him the second time and hit him right exactly where I needed to hit him, right pretty much behind the shoulder. And he just dropped over and rolled down the hill. So that was my
What were you shooting? What was
my
your
experience.
gun? What was your
I
gun?
bought a Savage 110, and I got it in 6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay.
Because
Why'd you make that decision?
Because I wanted to learn how. I don't do any long range or precision rifle shooting, and I always wanted to learn that. So I thought, well, if I get the Creedmoor, I've been reading that, okay, that's a good one to do that with. Plus, it'll work for the hunting trip.
You have great excuses for
that's
buying new guns.
Oh, that's not the best excuse, because my buddy that invited me said, "I got all the rifles, I got everything. You don't need anything."
Oh.
I said, "Of course I do. What do you mean I don't need anything?"
Well, if any of these being because he's buying a dual purpose rifle, I would have been like, well, I need one for hunting and one for precision.
Well,
and
without
one
a
to practice.
doubt.
And
No, you don't have to. You don't have to convince me. Are you kidding?
he was being very
I know.
responsible.
I go get a new chainsaw if I think I want to cut something down.
What was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I had my pig by about 5:30 maybe.
So you went back to the cabin.
And, no. What we did? Well, we went and parked again in the valley.
Are you only allowed one per
I think
shooter?
you can get one per tag. I just bought one tag.
Oh, okay.
Because that one's plenty.
How
for
big
now.
is this guy?
Mine was about 150 pounds. So
Dress that out. That's going to be
dressed
good.
out at about 77 pounds, I think is what they said. So so went and parked again, and then the same thing. About 15 minutes later, another pig on another hill. We go zipping up there. We screech to a halt. My partner jumps out, and the guy, "Shoot, shoot, shoot!" And he shoots one, and his was bigger. So he got his on the first shot. Was they said about 250 pounds.
Jeez.
So I think
He was waddling.
mine should be a better eating pig, but we'll see.
What did you learn about shooting under pressure?
I learned a couple of things, and I actually want to use this when I teach because, they always talk about the adrenaline and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because nobody was wearing hearing protection, all right? And I was thinking, okay, I've got my little electronic ones. I was thinking I'll put them in, but I never got around to doing it. And I fired those two shots, and my rifle was pretty loud, and I didn't hear a thing. I mean, I heard like two little pops. That was pretty much it. So that auditory exclusion, I think, is a real thing. The other thing is
Auditory exclusion is
not being able to hear the shots. They say a lot of times when people are involved in shooting incidents, they shoot and they don't hear it.
Especially if their adrenaline is roaring.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. So certainly, I mean, obviously this isn't like a shootout, but there's a fair amount of adrenaline when you're screeching at a halt and the guide is yelling, "Shoot,
Plus,
shoot,
you
shoot."
wanted to hit it.
Well, yes, I did that. The other thing is I don't remember. I had to ask my my friend, was I leaning on the ATV or was I standing, just freestanding? Because I couldn't remember that at all, and I was freestanding. The other thing I couldn't remember is how far out the pig was, and they said it was probably just under 100 yards.
And
maybe
did you
70
lead it,
yards
or did you
something.
shoot straight for a spot?
No, I shot straight at it. Yeah, the rifle bullet's pretty fast, so so I shot right at it. But it was interesting, all those things. I was conscious of working the bolt because it's a bolt action rifle. And one of the things when I was practicing, my friend was saying you gotta practice shooting and chambering another round real quickly because you have to do that sometimes. And I remember being conscious of running the bolt, but not really thinking about it. So the adrenaline thing is real, but it was a blast. I'm
blast.
definitely
So
want
we're
to
gonna
go
go do it
next year.
again.
Oh yeah, we're planning next
Did
year.
the pig have pants on?
I hope
sometimes
not.
they
and
do,
a little
sometimes
hat.
not.
And a little hat.
Because Porky, no pants. 3 little pigs, overalls. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, that's very,
That's
very
good.
astute of
I
you.
must have blocked that out in the adrenaline rush there when I was
If you
shooting.
didn't hear the shot, then you blocked everything.
Let me ask my
out.
buddy if he had pants or not on there.
There you go.
I hope they were Levi's.
So tune in next week to find out if his pig had pants.
That's right.
Brandi Joseph, also known as the Beretta brand, not the Beretta Brandi, Beretta Brandi from Fortune Firearms is next.
Oh, but first, do you know we have a world-class training school here in San Diego? Pilots can fly almost every single day. And we're close to the ocean, the desert, the mountains, international borders, and even a major military base. That's why San Diego is one of the best places to learn how to fly in the world. You can learn to fly in sunny San Diego. That's right off Montgomery Field. And getting started real easy. Call them at 858-569-1822 or just go to Learn to Fly with SDFTI. But I'd call them 858-569-1822.
Now, did we learn last week on Stump My Nephew that Beretta makes wine?
Yes, we did.
So Beretta Brandi? I don't think
Boy.
they're talking about.
I don't think
they're talking about spirits.
We're missing. Well, I don't know. Those are 2 good spirits from a wine company.
So, Brandi, are you on the line?
I am.
How are you?
I am good, and you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us, how did you get the nickname Beretta Brandi?
Well, Beretta is my favorite gun.
which one do you like?
The PX4 Storm 40 caliber, which it might be something different if I had access to a little bit more in California, but that's it for now.
Isn't that horrible? So, okay, so tell people, give your background. You run a gun shop, right? Up in tell people who you are.
I run a firearm dealership in Sage. That's about 7 miles east of Temecula wine country near Awanga. And I also run a training school, so I have a few certified trainers that work for me as well.
Wow, very cool. Now, as a dealer in California, you were saying that, hey, if you had access to other firearms, that might change. You're talking about, of course, the quote unquote safe handgun roster, which we have a lawsuit. I'm a named plaintiff, and San Diego County Gun Owners is a named plaintiff in that lawsuit. We're trying very hard to get rid of that. How does that affect you as a dealer?
Well, a couple of things that it does. It creates a predatory environment for any FFL that is operating in California. Our suppliers, everything that we see on the website, anything coming to California, just that 1 or 2 additional features marks our guns up $100 to $200, and there's really not too much meat left on the bone once it comes to California gun sales.
Wow.
It obviously limits what we're allowed to have, and it puts firearm ownership out of reach to an average low-income household when you have the majority of the firearms that are on a roster are $500, $600, $700, and we don't have access to the $200-$300 reliable guns that somebody can just purchase just to protect your home.
Well, and one of the lead plaintiff is Lana Rena, and she actually is a part of the lawsuit because she wants to buy a Shield EZ, an M&P Shield EZ, and the reason she needs the EZ, they call it EZ because it's easier to rack the slide, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
the 380.
And she has difficulty with her hand dexterity. And so she needs that. And so it's really more of it's almost an ADA case more than it's a Second Amendment case.
It definitely is. It definitely is, and I can vouch for that in my experience, because when I have older women that come out and they want to purchase their firearms, their only options are that the 9mm slides aren't that easy for them to rack on the anything, a SIG, a Smith & Wesson, or anything like that that's small enough for them to handle, so they want to go 380. Well, you only have 1 or 2 380 options, and that's the P238?
Yeah.
Which is just the oddest gun ever. And
what don't you like about the P238?
Just a grip on it. It's almost like a clap, like you clap your hands to hold it. You don't get a full round grip around it. It's the odd gun. Yeah, it's cute.
Now, how did you get into firearms? How did you become a dealer?
I've always owned firearms since I was legally able to, but during the pandemic, I was working for a contractor in Marietta. And, actually, before the pandemic, I was a home inspector. So I went into a lot of homes. Hemet was predominantly my community. I worked there for 13 years. I had been in and out of probably about somewhere between 27 and 3,000 homes a year I went into by myself.
Oh, my gosh.
And at the time, I did it for years, and it wasn't until about 2020 when I started feeling unsafe. That's when things started getting, political climate started changing, and I started seeing a lot more of what I wasn't comfortable with after doing it for 12 years. So I had seen somebody when I was into him in the Walmart, which was like a really odd situation. He wouldn't stop talking to me, but, because I worked in sober living homes, things like that, I would still go into those type of locations by myself. And I'd seen somebody at the Walmart in Hemet. He wouldn't stop talking to me all the way outside, all the way to my car. And by the time I got home, my husband was like, you should probably get your carry permit. Jeez. I'm like, that'd be a good idea. So at least if I'm in public by myself or with my kids, the guy could have easily hopped in the car and followed me home. Well, home for me is a 14-mile stretch with nothing. So if anything happens on the road, I'm by myself still at that point. So I went through the process of getting my concealed carry. That wasn't the easiest thing in the world. Ran into a couple people that weren't so helpful, but I ended up going into Counter-Strike in Hemet with Greg. May he rest in peace. He was an awesome person. He really actually set me on the right path to get my CCW. Directed me to the right people, talked to me about my good cause statement and my qualifying shoot and all those things. So after meeting with him, I was ready to go. So after that, I went and got past my qualifications. And I was actually going back and forth to the range with Jackie at PMS. You had her on a few weeks ago. That's one of my really good friends.
Oh, yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, so I was actually going back and forth to Rainbow with her, spending time on the range with her, and she kept telling me, you should train. I'm like, you know what? I started realizing what a demand it was for women to be on the range training. It was really hard, and that was also from my experience getting my concealed carry. It was, you got the guy that walks on the range wearing, leg rigs and armor, and he's militant, and to him there's such things as dumb questions, and when you're talking about guns, you should be able to ask the dumb and the intelligent questions. But that rapport just wasn't there with him. So I was like, maybe I should go into firearm training. So I did. But during that process, it was also I was looking for the right concealed carry firearm. I wanted to put more than one on. And me going in and out of the gun stores, I wasn't, fighting the person who would sit down and actually talk to me about my gun needs. Buying a gun, you have to have a reason, not have a reason, but most people purchase it for a reason.
Right.
Why? Where are you going to keep it? Do you want to keep it at home as a home defense, or is it going to eventually be concealed carry? If it's a concealed carry, we got to talk about how you can conceal it. So I finally went into Ammo Brothers in Paris, and one of the managers there just sat me down, and he let me hold everything, showed me my holster, and was like, this is what you do, this is what I do. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. So after a while, I was talking to my husband again, and he's like, well, you had such a bad gun buying experience. Why don't you get your dealer license and make that easier for women?
Well, and you said, let me ask you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. No, I was just, I agreed with him. I was like, that's true.
But there's one thing you said at the beginning that I really want to make sure we talk about. You said that the political environment had changed, and that was one of the considerations for wanting to defend yourself. Can you talk about that? What do you mean by that?
Just more comments that I get out of people when I'm in their homes. Racial comments that I get from people. I've been doing that for 12 years. I've never had anybody just come right out and say that they didn't agree with me being in their house. But at that point, people felt really free to tell me that. And it was like, oh, okay.
Telling you that they didn't want you in their house?
Oh, yeah. I had had a man to sit and tell me to his face, "Oh yeah, my dad just died a few weeks ago. If he was alive, you wouldn't be here." And I'm just like, "Oh, that's awesome." And I had somebody else not want to let me in the house and call my office and ask for either a white man or a white woman. So
what?
The reception, oh yeah, it was crazy. And I had been doing it for so long. So to start getting this, it was like, all right, this seems to be getting a little bit more consistent, the comments and things like that. You know, when people are in their home, they act different.
That's crazy.
You know, when they're in public and people see it, they're afraid of their peers. So,
well,
after
so
that, I started feeling it a little.
That's insane. I know black gun owners make up a huge, probably the largest segment of new gun owners recently in the last few years.
Yes.
What are you seeing that, and why do you? Is it because of what you just described, or why do you think it is?
I think it's partially what I described, and I also believe it's partially just because there's a lot more firearm trainers and a lot more African Americans getting more involved in the gun world. And representation is everything. If you don't ever see anybody doing it or anybody, you know, actively doing it or living the life or things like that, it's so far-fetched for you to actually be that person. And now that they're starting to see a lot more of, you know, people, you know, we have Redstone Firearm Dealership. They're a huge dealership
up in L.A.
And yeah, in Burbank. They've been there forever. They had another branch. They also have other businesses that they run that are just huge. You know, I think it's partially representation.
I can't even fathom. that. I can't believe in 2022. I grew up in North Florida, which, you know, is basically lower Alabama. And in the 80s, we moved there in the early 80s. We moved there, which was 10, maybe 15 years, more like 10 years prior. They actually had KKK marches down Main Street, and you know when we moved, so we're not that far removed. You know?
No, we really are, and you know, a lot of those people who marched in those are still alive, and they raise kids. So it's still alive in there. It's just not as up in front in our face anymore.
Well, I've never really understood why firearms ownership hasn't been more popular in the black community in America, because and I'm glad it's starting to become that way, and we've encouraged it, and we've actually have classes and groups of folks who've reached out to us and said, hey, we want to see more outreach to the black community, and let's do it, let's support it. So thank you for doing what you do. Fortune Firearms, which is fortunefirearms.com. We have Beretta Brandi. Thank you so much, Brandi. Appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you a lot more.
Thank you. You have a good day.
PRMI Mortgage, primeres.com/Alpine. Hey, if you're interested in looking to buy, refi, or if just maybe reverse mortgage information, call our mortgage guy, Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. They make it super easy. Work with a friendly expert team that will help you get the best deal on a mortgage. Call Chris Wiley, 619-722-1303, or just go to primeres.com/Alpine.
So we want to talk even more. We just talked about it at the beginning. We talked about it with Beth. We want to talk even more about the Bruin decision and really, truly make clear that the important thing to remember is that there is no more subjectivity. That's really what happened, and not just in, you know, the good cause. Like, everybody's really focused on getting rid of good cause, which is great. That's important, but no subjectivity across the board. So you're seeing California. You know, did you watch the press conference the Attorney General gave on Friday?
No, I didn't see it.
It was vile. It was no less than vile. He was basically saying, look, you know, we respect Second Amendment, but, you know, we're tired of all these gun owners. He was basically implying that CCW holders were responsible for
deplorable.
Well, we're responsible for like school shootings and that sort of thing.
But see, that's the standard response.
Sure.
Exactly what the governor said.
What else is he
going
to say?
I mean, that's the
vile.
standard response.
It's vile. So anyway, he started talking about like, well, hey, all right, they said no good cause, but they didn't say they said we still have good moral character, and basically the implication was that they were going to shift all the subjectivity over and call it good moral character, and that was going to be constitutional. It's not going to stand.
No.
Well, part of what they're doing, I think, was in New York, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I think part of the New York thing was they want to review now when you purchase a firearm, they're going to review your social media. Is that I think that was the New York one. Because I get them mixed up sometimes. I don't know if that was being proposed out here yet, or that was New York. But I think it was the New York law. And that goes to what you were just talking about, the good character thing, right? So now some goofball bureaucrat is going to determine, whether I have good character by looking at my Facebook posts.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff they're going to do, though. That's
And
why
who
you're
makes
saying,
that ruling?
Well,
exactly.
That's what you're saying.
It's subjective.
That's what we're saying. Yeah. And so the fight is just starting here again. But like you were saying, we have more tools now.
We have a nice big tool in the toolbox called the Bruin decision.
John Dillon told us when he left the other night, so much for vacation. Because he said
he's got a lot going on.
I'm going to be so busy in the next couple of years. He says, I'm glad I went on the one I went on when I went on it.
Well, we're
What did he say?
He said he's glad he went on the one he went on when he went on the one he went on.
When he went on the way on.
He look for San Diego Orange and Inland Empire to. We're going to send out a response to the Attorney General, the governor, and the pro tem leader in the Senate, calling for an independent investigation for in essence being doxxed. That's exactly what happened. Every CCW
I agree.
holder got doxxed.
And just tell them if you need more information on me, just check your list that you exposed.
Yeah, really. So, but the important thing to remember, a lot of people are there's a lot of fear that even though this was a huge victory, that they're somehow going to make CCWs harder to get than it was before.
It's like we slapped them. Now they're going to punch us.
Yeah, and I want to assure everybody that maybe there will be some bumps in the short term, but this, as long as we fight, as long as we stay organized and do the things that we need to do.
So we have to prove they did it purposely for it to be illegal.
Oh, well
that's a different story.
Yeah, it's two different things. So the doxing
I know,
thing,
but it's still
the doxing thing. Honestly, is really, really difficult. As far as like a lawsuit, if Exxon or some corporation wrongs you, it's pretty easy to say, hey, here are the damages. We're taking you to court. But the reality is, it's actually very, 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 very difficult to sue your government. It's almost impossible to sue your government for damages, and it's because of the 11th Amendment. Which I think we do a whole show on how they the Supreme Court misinterpreted the 11th Amendment. Look it up, everybody. But what they've decided is, hey, you can't sue your government for damages. The other thing is, how do you prove damages? So even if we could prove damages, of course, if you could find somebody who was attacked or was hacked or something like that, and you found the person that did it, and you found out that the person that did it only did it because they found their information from being doxxed, there's a case. But then again, suing the government for damages is next to impossible.
And what you're going to spend in lawyer fees will curl your hair.
And if you win, the lawyer gets paid by the state. But that kind of stuff's really, really difficult to do.
Yeah.
But what we do want to definitely focus on is making sure that we put pressure on them and hold them accountable, making sure that the folks who are elected and are friendly with us.
vote them out.
Well,
vote new in.
But the ones that are friendly with us, they need to step up and do anything, which is next to impossible.
More than nothing.
Better than nothing. But it's important to understand that the long game is to make sure that they don't get some of the stupid stuff done that they want to try to get done. Making it illegal to carry with a CCW.
But don't they think
anywhere.
if they keep it in court, if they keep coming up with all these silly ideas, and they know they're not going to win? I mean, they already know it because it's frivolous. So they tie us up in court. Do you think that could be a goal?
Well, it could be, but Joe used to say, we used to talk about how, hey, we never get the injunction, right? We never get the injunction. I believe that this Supreme Court case flips that. I think that we are going to be the team that gets the injunction now. It used to be that they'd say, law stands, and then it'll take 10 years for them to prove that it's unconstitutional or whatever. I think that with this, one of the advantages of having this new tool in our tool chest is that we are going to get the injunction now. Now, who knows what's going to happen in the Ninth Circuit, but I believe that we are going to get the injunction now.
Well, you just can't give up.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was about to say too. And it's important that And I say this in the article too. Like I feel like I'm getting preachy in the article at the end because I always tell people, "Hey, all right, now what can you do?" And the answer is always the same. And it's just like Michael says, get involved, step up, do something, figure out what it is you're good at, what you can do, and get in and do that kind of stuff. I mean, support groups because as these laws get proposed, things come out. There's going to be groups like Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of California. A number of good groups are going to bring these lawsuits. We'll do what we can to support that, and everybody should be doing that. And you got to get in there and step up and fight this. As they come up with these things, you got to knock them down one at a time as they come up because they are going to, I think what you just mentioned, they're going to try to do whatever it is they can do to make it more difficult for people to do this. Now, will they be successful? Probably not, but they're certainly going to try to do it.
They're going to tie you up for as long as they can.
There's all sorts of things they can do with fees, with requirements, with this, with that, with restrictions. So it's just people need to get together and they need to support the groups that are fighting this stuff.
Well, I've been directly involved with real true Second Amendment activism for something like 14, 15 years now. And I've been a gun owner in California since 1997, I believe. So that's however many years that is, 20-something. And, I run into people over and over again, gun owners, who don't think anything good can ever happen. We'll never. Okay, well, a lot of good things have happened. A lot of bad things have happened, but a lot of good things have happened,
But
too.
that's what the left is hoping for.
Well, but the folks who are, I believe that they don't really think that nothing good can happen. I believe that it's an excuse for not being involved. And all that has been put to bed. We have 3 Supreme Court decisions. Since I started getting active, we've had 3 Supreme Court decisions that are on our side. We've gotten CCWs, which people said we never had. We got CCWs, and then we got a Supreme Court decision about CCWs. So everybody out there, if you're skeptical, or if you know people that are skeptical, done. That's done. We've proven again and again. Now you have no excuse to not get involved. You have no excuse to either become a member of San Diego County Gun Owners or Orange County Gun Owners or Inland Empire. At the very least, $10 a month, $100 per year. But then also show up at a meeting. Show up at a meeting and say, hey, how can I get involved? What can I do? The people that are at the shooting socials, that are manning the tabletops, the people that are giving the CCW seminars like Joe does at Power Weapons Gear twice a month, the people that are doing these things, that are growing the community and advancing the cause, they're not asking, what can I do? They already know. They already know what they can do because they're doing it. So if you really, truly want to feel fulfilled and get involved with us. We make activism easy. We say it. We mean it.
And it's fun.
It is a lot of fun. So, and also, Joe will teach you how to hunt a pig.
That's right. Clean it, gut it.
So when are you going again, man?
I'll tell you what I know. We're already, I've got my little envelope that I throw money in, so I've already started saving for the next one. But
what's it cost?
This one was altogether $850, I guess, and
$850. That's it.
Which is I thought was completely reasonable. We drove up on Friday, we hunted Saturday, we drove back on Sunday.
Put you in a tent?
And put us in a nice 4-bedroom little farmhouse. There was a facility there. So what we ended up doing was, we got all the pigs. There's 8 people, so they got 8 pigs. We all go back to the farmhouse. There's an outbuilding there where the guides, they skin the pigs. They cut them in half, stuck them in the refrigerator or freezer.
Did you watch them?
And, it was great. Well, I was drinking my beer because there's a little bar built off to the side of that facility as well. So, and they did that. Then the next day we threw the meat in the cooler, brought it down. On the way home, we found the processor that my friend had used the last couple of years. So drop the meat off, and we'll go back and pick it up in a week or two. And,
so you get a picture with your pig?
And we're done. I got all sorts of pictures.
What are you going to end up with as far after they get done processing it? Like, give us an idea.
So the only thing, 2 things I did not ask for, because this is my first time, so I wanted to try out the different things. The different cuts. I did not get the ham steaks because they said you have to cure them and treat them and stuff. So I didn't feel like messing with that. I did not get bacon because the wild pigs are much more lean than the domestic ones are. So the bacon they say doesn't
give you what you want.
But I told them that cut everything else. I definitely want back straps because I've made those before and those are tasty. I got a good recipe for smoking those. A tenderloin, they're going to cut chops for me. They're going to give me ribs. So I'm going to try all that stuff out. The other thing I got was a bunch of sausage. So they're going to make me hot Italian and sweet Italian sausage. And then I'll see how all this tastes this year, and then next year I'll alter that maybe a little bit.
Did you get the tongue?
No tongue. I didn't see the heads. The heads they did away with.
When am I coming over, dude? I'm not even joking. When am I coming over for all that?
Yeah, let me get this stuff down here, and we'll.
How many
plan it
pounds
out.
did you say you fixed for him?
How many pounds? 77 is what we got.
So that's an afternoon.
I was going to say, I guess you go by yourself.
That's me and Joe in an afternoon right there.
And a case of beer.
I can fit that into the smoker, I think.
You, me, and the pugs.
You going to smoke it all at the same time?
Probably not. No,
Okay.
Probably not.
All right. Now that everybody's starving, thank you very much, Joe. Hey, do you feel safe and are you protected? Well, it's time to take ownership of your self-defense journey. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association believes the key ingredient is being a responsible firearms owner and properly trained and educated. The USCCA offers comprehensive training that helps you avoid danger while keeping you and your loved ones happy. More than 650,000 responsibly armed Americans like you have made the responsible decision to take control of protecting themselves and their families. Get hands-on training from a certified instructor, and you can learn how to avoid danger, defend yourself, and protect your loved ones. Take responsibility for your own safety and visit uscca.com/GOR. Make sure you put the GOR in there.
Stands for
Gun Owners Radio.
All right, so it's time for everybody's favorite segment. Of course, we found out, I don't know how many years ago, that my nephew, Sam the Gunman, is a, what's the term, Joe? Did we settle it?
No, we never did.
never have.
We never settled. He's just really good at trivia.
Yeah, he's
a really good at trivia guy.
Well, let's just say, I don't know, let's not give him more than he can handle, but how about gun trivia?
Gun trivia. Actually, he's good at all trivia.
Does that work, Sam, or are you a trivia guy?
I don't know. I really didn't think I was much of a trivia guy, but I guess that's what I'm known for in that part of the
He's
world.
definitely not a trivial guy.
No. But like if I asked him about a 1918 dual hack, he may not know what I mean.
What's a 1918 dual hack, Sam?
I don't know. I'm not a car and motorcycle guy.
So you're not okay, so stick with the gun trivia. You're good.
I think I'd say military.
Yeah, military, armament, guns,
history,
war zones, battles,
foreign affairs.
Are you into battles?
Not too much.
Okay.
What's another? Aviation.
Yeah.
I can do some aviation.
Yeah, some history on it.
Religion.
Yeah.
I think you know some religion here and there.
Knows you.
You did Mike Schwartz trivia?
That'd be scary.
I don't know what color piece of pie that is in Trivial Pursuit, but some kind of off.
So if we got a really
off brown kind of a.
Have we got
gray.
a bad question for you?
Yeah. All right.
Is that why we're lagging?
Yes. No. I don't know. I think this is a good question. All right. So if you send in a question, if you know some gun trivia, and you send in a question, if we use it, we'll give you a hat or a shirt. If you stump my nephew, we'll give you a very, very special prize. We were given tickets to Gun Prom. I'm not sure what we're doing now. Let's wait and see if Jay from Los Angeles can stump my nephew. Jay writes in, very simple question. What is a Dardick pistol? Dardick. What is a Dardick pistol?
James from Los Angeles. What was it, Jay from Los Angeles?
Yep.
Yeah, Jay from Los Angeles. Thanks very much for writing in. Sorry you have to live in Los Angeles, but,
hey.
I guess someone's got to do it. I guess someone's got to take one for the team. The Dardick pistol, also known as the Dardick revolver, I think the fact that it is referred to by those two names speaks to how weird it is basically it's a semi-automatic revolver, kind of. It combines the rotating cylinder of a revolver up top, but it feeds from a magazine. The cylinder is partially open, and the magazine pushes cartridges into the cylinder from the bottom. The cylinder rotates the rounds up in line with the barrel where they discharge, and then rotates the spent casings a little bit farther through the circle where they're ejected. It makes sense if you look. Well, no, it doesn't make sense. It makes more sense if you look at it. I hope my description did it justice.
David Dardick invented his namesake pistol in 1954, which crossbred a pistol and a revolver. A compact body with a minimum of moving parts. It shot a tround. What's a tround? Do you know what a tround is?
Yeah, that was his marketing name for a triangular round. It's sort of shaped like a rounded triangle in cross-section because it has to be rotationally symmetrical, but still fill the exterior part of a circle.
It shot a tround, a cartridge with a triangular polymer case with rounded corners, with the bullet fully sunken in the case. The Dardick pistol didn't take off because the cartridges frequently cracked and was impossible to reload on their own. So I would say that you did not, sir, stump my nephew.
Boy, did you not.
Correct! Congratulations, man.
Wow, triangular bullet.
Yeah.
Tround. I like that.
Tround. Yeah. Do you remember how did you come across this information, Sam?
You always ask me that.
That's one of those, like, it's weird enough and unique enough that sort of sticks.
Now, I know, so you got to get this information from somewhere. Are you watching YouTube or reading? Like, what's a favorite YouTube channel or what's a favorite resource for some of this, stuff that you know about guns?
I get it from all sorts of places. I always try and make sure I'm looking at some kind of a reliable source when I get my information. Mm-hmm. But
is there a particular commentator or influencer or expert that you're particularly fond of?
So there are kind of different levels of this, and as a lot of you listening might know, I write magazine articles, some of them about firearms, some about military history in general. But it's like you can kind of imagine it as an iceberg. You have your surface levels who are people who go out and do research and talk about the topics, your secondary sources like Forgotten Weapons is a popular YouTube channel that has that type of content. But when you get down below the surface of the water and you're trying to be an authoritative source on this kind of thing, you really have to hit the primary sources. And when I'm doing my writing, that's what I like to do. So sometimes when I'm talking about these topics, some of what I say is informed by looking at actual testing reports and documentation and memoirs by people who worked on various weapons development projects. But unfortunately, a lot of it is just stuff that I've had to pick up from secondary sources and that I don't have access to original materials on.
Now, you're becoming somewhat of an expert yourself. I mean, at the ripe old age of, what are you, 22 now?
Yeah.
You're actually going to be on a podcast episode, right? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
It's true, yes. So I freelance. I write freelance for Leatherneck, the magazine of the Marine Corps, which is published by the Marine Corps Association. And they also have a podcast called Scuttlebutt, which has all sorts of content about various Marine Corps-oriented topics that are sure to be interesting for civilians as well. Some civilians, definitely. And we recently recorded an episode which should be up tomorrow. About partially about my recent article on the M1 rifle, and so I talk a little bit about that. We also have the Arms and Armament curator from the Marine Corps Museum on that same episode, and we do almost a little bit of a panel discussion on John Garand's most famous design.
John who?
John Garand, or Garand if you prefer, but he pronounced it Garand.
Actually.
So doing that so that people wouldn't call me out and say, actually, he pronounced it Garand. And then, much to my dismay, I became one of those people.
That's awesome. So you're on this podcast and you're going to be talking. That's very cool, man. Congratulations. Now, where do people find, if they want to listen to it, where is there a website or where do they go? What do they search? What do they do?
I believe it's up on the major podcast platforms like I think Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Yeah.
What name do they punch in?
Say again?
Just what do they write in? Scuttlebutt?
Or Leatherneck?
Scuttlebutt is the name of the podcast.
Yeah, Leatherneck. So, okay, do Scuttlebutt. It'll come up on any major podcast service provider.
Yeah, Leatherneck is the magazine, Scuttlebutt is the podcast. Both are produced by the Marine Corps Association.
Nice. And
Perfect.
And Leatherneck is marine content oriented.
Yes.
Or if you want to annoy your mom, say orientated.
Yeah, that's great. As I said, this episode in particular should be interesting for people who have no military experience and are just interested in historical firearms. But I've never been in the Marine Corps, and I thought it was interesting. But then again, I was on it, so who am I to judge?
And you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. What a podcast sort of is just people sitting around talking, and as the listener, you get to vicariously participate in the conversation, I guess. So if
Sounds like a radio show.
There you go.
Well, that's how radio started. It was mainly
As a podcast?
Well, no, it was mainly a call-in show. And then they realized they needed to make a lot of money off of it, and the only way to do it was to break the show up and sell advertising. Where with a podcast, usually you've got some video program that goes with it, and commercials and everything just stream through there, and you don't have to break.
There you go. So if you want to hear Sam, you want to hear the podcast on any podcast provider, do a search for Scuttlebutt, or just go to mca-marines.org and check them out there. Thank you, Sam. Awesome job. We did not stump you.
Thank you very much for having me on, as always. And everyone, thanks very much for listening. Keep them coming.
Happy New Year, my friend. Or happy 4th of July. Happy New Year.
That too.
Happy New Year, too. Yeah.
All right, hey, folks, don't go anywhere. Subscribe to our show and give us a 5-star. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. And stop by our sponsors and thank them. San Diego County, Orange County, Inland Empire, gun owners. The Dillon Law Group, BRMI Mortgage. Sage Street Digital Marketing, SCO 1, Leo Hamill's Fine Jewelry, San Diego Flight Training International, and our newest partner, U.S. Concealed Carry Association. You might get Joe. Hey, I do want to thank Joe, Michael, and Sam the Gunman, and Brendan Thomas right here on FM 96.1 AM 1170. And Bob Siegel's in the house. Don't touch that dial.
The answer.